Mercedes-Benz Calgary. My name's Melissa.
My name's Sarah.
I'm the head of human resources here.
No problem.
I do have your resume and cover letter. I see that you sent those in previously, so thank you. You don't know how tough it is to get these sometimes. Well, let's just get started. Do you have any questions for me to start off?
No.
Perfect. Knowledge of the company. Let's start there. Say someone comes into Mercedes and asks what the key benefits of owning a Mercedes are. What would you say and how would you respond?
Well, I would say that Mercedes-Benz is one of the top luxury manufacturers in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
They also service nationwide. And I know that you guys are economically friendly, but that also doesn't inhibit the way that your cars still work. So I love that about that.
Awesome. Doesn't help that they look great on the road, hey? So I did have a chance here to look through your education, and I was just wondering from your point of view, how will the certifications or education you've received help you in this job?
Well, I've recently done a Microsoft Office certification course at SAFE, and I believe that the techniques and strategies that I learned throughout that course really do help me within my everyday life and also within the workplace, especially with reception and administration duties. And I find that I am very proficient in Excel and also Word, and I think that really gives me a leg up with other candidates.
Wonderful. We do base all of our systems here off of word processing, so that's awesome. That's really good to hear.
Yeah.
Work experience, we've all had our good days and our bad days. So if you could describe a time where you had a negative interaction with a customer or a guest and how you handled it and why you felt that that was a beneficial way to handle it.
Yeah, sure. So you definitely have difficult customers come in all the time. It's just part of work. I would say that I had a customer come in one time and she was fairly angry. I guess she wanted to return an item, and one of my colleagues could not return the item for her because she did not have a receipt. So I basically came over to help, and I said, "What's the issue?" She told me the issue. I kind of repeated it back to her to help her understand that I am listening and we are going to follow through with this. So she basically told me she misplaced the receipt, which is no problem at all. I said, "That's fine." I went to the back, I looked up her phone number and her last name. It ended up being in the system already, so it was really not that big of an issue. And then we got the refund all filed through. And then I just took my colleague aside and told her, the best way to handle a difficult customer is just to listen and then find a result for their problem.
That's excellent. That's excellent. I know I've had my days like that as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So tell me about a time that you were dissatisfied with your work and how did you improve upon it?
So I would say I'm definitely somebody who's really hard on myself. I like to be really good at what I do. One time when I was working with one of the realtors that I've worked with previously, he gave me a task to complete throughout the day and along with my general work duties.
Yeah.
So he said, try and get it done as quickly as you can, hopefully by the end of the day. So I tried to prioritize a list to make sure that I was getting everything done in the order that it should be done. So I started and I was on a roll and I was doing really well, but then I did have a couple phone calls come in about inquiries, just regular questions about viewings and stuff like that. And it did take a toll on my work at the moment. So I kept trying to pursue, kept trying to get there. I ended up not finishing the list that he gave me, which I was kind of sad about, but it happens. And I just know to better my time management next time, maybe less on something that's not as important and more on something that is important. I should have probably done the list before I did my general work duties.
Yeah.
But that's something I can always improve on.
And how did that go over with the other realtor you were working with at the time?
He was okay with it, actually. I mean, he was very easygoing, and he just said, you know what, next time, try and think about what you're prioritizing. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, I took that to heart.
That's great. So just to get to know you a little bit better and how you manage yourself and your stress levels, tell me about a time when you were stressed during work and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so I find that in any workplace there's always going to be stress no matter what. I would say can't list a specific time where I was stressed. I don't have one, although I can think of how I felt kind of lately with my job. So I do work and school at the same time, and I can find that is quite stressful, definitely, especially with deadlines coming up and midterms, that kind of thing. I find that the best way to overcome stress is just take a minute for yourself. Kind of sit back, say, listen, it's going to be okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
There's nothing too hard that you can't persevere through. And if it's really that bad, grab a colleague or grab a manager and just say, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Is there any way that I can get any help? Because asking for help is always useful. It's always good in the workplace.
Asking for what you need.
Yeah, definitely. And I would just say, take some time for yourself. Just have a moment.
Yeah, sometimes it's just that moment that makes all the difference too.
Yeah.
Well, this has been great. A little less heavy on the questions here. Tell me about a non-work related, a personal kind of goal that you have, and what are the steps you're taking to achieve it?
Yeah, of course. Actually, I'm really excited. In August, I'm going to be running a half marathon, and that's going to be in
Which
Vancouver.
one?
It's called Seawees.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
I heard of it.
Really exciting. So to train for that, I kind of have to prep every week, especially with work and school. I have to figure out times that will work for me, especially with the fact that I do have all those other things to do. So I find organization is key.
Yeah.
Plan it out, see what you can achieve, and go from there. Definitely also have to be really wary of what you're eating, that kind of thing, water intake. There's a whole bunch of things that go into it,
I
but
couldn't even imagine.
yeah, every day is a different step. So just, driving towards that goal is what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well, I love that. I love the self-motivation you have here, Sarah. I think that's about it for now. I don't have any more questions. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, actually. I'm just wondering, what's the hardest part about the job?
Oh, the hardest part. The hardest part about this job. I would say with any job, the hardest part is once you've been doing it for a while, knowing that you're just coming into the same job every day. But I also find that that's kind of the best part about our job and working with people and working with new strangers and guests in our door every day is that it's the same process, it's the same paperwork, but it's a different person every time, which can be a challenge or it can give you an excellent day. And I love working with people, so I would say it's probably that.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's so nice to meet
It's
you.
nice to meet you too. I'll call you by the end of the week.
All
You get
right.
home safe.